What's up, Titans fans? It's your boy CD back again with another episode of TitanUp 2day. Today's show, that's right, it's Saturday, so that means NFL Week 6 Pick'ems. Me and the crew will select and predict all of the winners and losers for this week's matchups in the NFL. That is to include the Houston Texans traveling to Nashville to play our Tennessee Titans. I will bring you a quick injury update for all the practices this week, but there's no need to delay. Let's get right down to it. All right, so it's Saturday. You know why you are here. But before we jump right into those pick'ems, let's go ahead and show the injury report. The Titans and Texans injury report looks pretty slim, which is always good. Nose tackle Daquan Jones, we just got him back off of the COVID list. He has not practiced all week with a foot injury, and he is questionable for Week 6's matchup against Houston. Texans tight end Jordan Akins with a concussion, has clear concussion protocols, limited in practice all week, and is questionable for this week's matchup. Cornerback Cornell Armstrong with a knee injury is limited, questionable for the matchup. Running back Buddy Howell with a hamstring injury is limited in practice and questionable for this week's matchup. And last on the list, linebacker Peter Kalambayi with a hamstring injury is limited in practice and is questionable for this week's matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Wrapping up that injury report, obviously this game, Texans at Tennessee Titans, is the most important to us here on TitanUp 2day, but we gotta wait, go through all the other predictions first, and before we even do that, let's look quickly at the standings. As you can see, very little movement in the standings this week. Nobody moved up or down, but Jake Witt did pull away just a little bit with his 10-4 record last week. He's now 53-24. I am 51-26. Courtney, my little sis, 50-27, A-Town 48-29, and Lund at 43-34 is still towards the bottom, but he did have a better showing as he was tied for the best record last week at 10-4. Has him over the 500 hump, and he's still moving forward. All right, so I did want to say quickly, Jake, I'm proud of you. You're doing good so far. I thought as a Kansas City Chiefs fan that you wouldn't really know much about football, but after the first 5 weeks of the season, you're still in the lead. Good job on that. But no worries. We're going to go ahead and press on. Week 6, totally different. New slate of games. Now things are starting to really open up, and we'll be able to make those right decisions. So let's go ahead and jump in right away. The first game on the docket with no Thursday night game. The first game is on Sunday, kicking off at 1 o'clock. Cincinnati on the road playing Indianapolis. Cincinnati is currently 1-3-1. They still got that tie hanging on there from that Philadelphia Eagles matchup. Indy is currently favored by 8 points. 46.5 is the over-under. Myself, I'm going with the AFC South. Indy did me wrong last week. I had them beating Cleveland. Cleveland, they look for real, but Indy has to beat a team that is beyond beatable in Cincinnati. Indy wins this matchup 23-20. Next up, Atlanta. The miserable Atlanta Falcons at 0-5. How hard is it to be an Atlanta Falcons fan these days? After that Super Bowl loss to the Patriots, it's just been downhill, and I don't see it coming up anytime soon. They're going against Minnesota, who's also having a down year. They're 1-4. Minnesota is now favored by 4 points. The over-under is 54. I think this is a high-scoring game. Both defenses have been really non-existent. Look out for Alexander Madison. He looks like he'll be starting this week with Dalvin Cook being out for Minnesota. I have Minnesota winning this game with the running back coming in to replace Dalvin Cook doing a beast of a job, 34-30. Look out, Minnesota Vikings doing some damage to Atlanta, and Atlanta is 0-6 after this week, even though they just fired Dan Quinn. Doesn't help at all. Anyways, moving on, Denver at New England. Denver comes into New England 1-3. New England 2-2 after the bye. I personally had New England winning this game before. I had Denver winning this game before. That was with Cam Newton on the COVID list. Things have changed drastically since last week. New England is favored by 9.5 points, 44.5 as the over-under. I have New England winning this game with Cam Newton in the lineup, 27-24. Next up, Washington football team, 1-4. They started the season off 1-0, and it's just been downhill since. They're going against the New York Giants, which started off the season 0-1. and they're still 0-5, looking for their first win. They lost Saquon, as I told you guys in the past, and that has hurt them tremendously. The passing offense has been okay, and their defense has just not been there. But the Giants are favored in this game at home by 2.5 points. The over-under is 43, which says it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game. I think that Washington, with Alex Smith, the story that everybody's talking about this Sunday, Alex Smith goes into New York and wins this game 27-24. And again, I still like Washington's defense. Chase Young is a monster off that defensive line, monster off the line. So, not going too far. Baltimore, 4-1, going against Philadelphia, who's 1-3-1. Baltimore's favored by 7.5. 47.5 on the over/under. I think that Baltimore, they're doing well. The record shows they really haven't, other than Kansas City, they really haven't had to like come out and beat up on anybody or play anybody for real. They're just kind of cruising along, and the record, I think, is starting to lie to us. They're going to start playing some division games here really soon, and I think the AFC North right now is the best division in football, and I think they will be tested very soon, but not this week. Baltimore wins this game 27-17, pretty easy. Cleveland, the 4-1 Browns, and I'll say that again, 4-1 Browns. This is like a decade ago, maybe less. They lost every single game on the schedule. Now they're 4-1. They look like a brand new football team, a brand new franchise all the way around. A good franchise, a storied franchise. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-0, undefeated. And again, y'all slipped away. It should be 4-1 right now. But anyways, we get to play you guys in week 7 to make things right. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's favored by 3.5 points. The over-under is 51. Cleveland has been putting up 30-plus points every single week on this little tear that they're on. I think that they win this game. Cleveland shocks Pittsburgh and upsets them 27-20. I apologize for not picking you guys last week against the Colts. I had a feeling y'all would win, but this week for sure on the road you guys win and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 4-1 Chicago Bears travel to Carolina to play Teddy and the boys. They're currently 3-2 in the NFC South. Carolina's favored to win this game by 1.5 points. The over-under is 44.5. Nick Foles has been shocking to me. The Bears, just in general, I keep saying that they're pretenders. When we ask contender or pretender, I have to ask now, Carolina, are they pretenders or contenders? The same kind of situation. Without Run CMC, they're still winning games, and they're in games every single time. I think this is going to be a very, very good game. But I like Nick Foles throwing the ball a lot to Allen Robinson. And again, the Bears defense has started to solidify themselves. I think that they shut down Teddy Bridgewater, show him something a little bit different, and they win this game. Chicago wins this game 27-23. Now, next up, staying in the NFC North, Detroit plays Jacksonville Jaguars, our AFC South rival. Detroit comes into this matchup 1-3, losing a couple games that I think that they should not have lost, but they just need to finish, which comes down to coaching, I believe. But anyways, Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-4. Detroit is favored to win this game by 3 points. 54.5 points is the over/under. I have Detroit winning this game 34-27 as Jacksonville continues to tank, low-key tank for that number 1 spot. Now, the New York Jets, 0-5. Again, I said earlier the New York Giants are 0-5. That's 2 teams in New York. Their combined record is 0-10. They haven't won a game in that city. Now, obviously, Buffalo is in New York as well. They're doing okay, except for last week. But anyways, the Maiden City, New York, 0-10 on the year. Kind of sad, borderline pathetic. But Miami, 2-3, who shocked the world going into San Francisco and blowing out, just absolutely blowing out the 49ers last week. They play at home. Vegas likes Miami a ton. They're favored by 10 points, 47-point over/under. I think that Miami covers that big spread and they win this matchup 30-17. New York, get it together. Green Bay Packers 4-0 coming off the bye are playing Tampa Bay, who are 3-2. Tom Brady, the GOAT. We can't argue that. I give him that. Aaron Rodgers this year, along with Matt LaFleur, those guys together are doing damage on offense. Give them a week off to get prepared to go against the Bucs. I don't think the NFL is trying to hype this up, right? Two Hall of Fame quarterbacks going head to head in this clash. It's going to be a great game. They even lied to us and said that Green Bay is only favored by 1 point. 1 point to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Somehow, I guess the Bucs are this great team all of a sudden. The over-under is 55.5. I have Green Bay going to Tampa and winning this game easily, 31-23. This game is not as good and as it is hyped up by any means. Sorry, Bucs fans, just deal with it. Los Angeles Rams 4-1 going against the San Francisco 4-9ers. They're really on pace to be about 4-9 at this point in time. They're 2-3. They just lost to Miami in a nasty, ugly game. The Rams are favored to win this game 3.5 points. 51.5 is the over-under. I have the Rams to win this game 24-20. I think it's going to be closer of a match only because they're division rivals, and this will be a little bit dirty, but the Rams offense is too good for the 49ers, and Jimmy G looks like bottom of the bucket type quarterback at this point in time, so I don't really expect much from them. But anyways, Rams win this game. Kansas City, all right, going back in time, I think it was week 2 or week 3, I talked to my boy Jake. He said, hey, look, I think that we need to put a little bit more emphasis on the Kansas City Chiefs and talk more about the Kansas City Chiefs on TitanUp Today. Obviously, that doesn't make any sense. It's TitanUp Today, but I told him I would talk about the Chiefs. I do whenever I can. I want to talk about the Chiefs. Last week, the Chiefs, the mighty, mighty Chiefs, the Super Bowl champs Chiefs, lose this game to the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders handled them. There was a point in which it was a really good game, like all the way into the fourth quarter, and then the Raiders said, okay, we're done. Turned it on, finished the Chiefs, and still somewhere in the back of our mind we thought, well, maybe Pat Mahomes and the boys, they'll get it all together and they'll come back. And then the Raiders went and scored another touchdown and just put their foot on their throat. Who is the leader right now in the AFC West? I don't know. Kansas City? Maybe, I guess. Anyways, we're off of Kansas City, but that was for you, Jake. You're welcome. They're playing against the Buffalo Bills, who just came off of a bad loss themselves. Who did they play? They just played Tuesday night. The Titans. They got blown out, 42-16. But they're 4-1. They're playing well. Kansas City is favored in this match. 4.5 points on the road. 57.5 is over/under. I do think this is going to be a shootout. It'll be a fun game to watch. I have Kansas City. As much as I hate to say it, I think Kansas City still wins this game. Andy Reid how did they just get Le'Veon Bell? Why did he just go to that team? It just blows my mind. But anyways, they did the same thing a couple years back and got Kelvin Benjamin, and we were like, oh man, this is going to be a big thing. Teams don't seem to transition well mid-season into this offense, but we'll see how it works out. Le'Veon Bell as a running back, it should be easier for them just to hand the ball off and let him do his thing, but he hasn't really been worth anything since he left Pittsburgh. But we'll see. Kansas City wins this game 40-24. Now, Arizona, the Cardinals go against the Dallas Cowboys. Arizona comes into this matchup 3-2. Dallas 2-3, ahead and in the lead for the NFC East. As sad as it says, you can have a losing record and win the East. We all know that. But big injury, Dak Prescott out for the season, surgery on his ankle, very, very gruesome and ugly injury. The good news out of all that is they had the best backup quarterback in the NFL in Andy Dalton. Obviously, he was a starter with the Cincinnati Bengals for over a decade. Couldn't really do much with them. I think that was the last few years was mostly because A.J. Green couldn't stay on the field. They didn't really have much of a running game until they got Joe Mixon there, but the team itself is like slowly crumbling, and you can see it. It was going around Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton leaves, comes to Dallas, and Dallas has all the offensive weapons that he can ask for. I think that Andy Dalton in this matchup showcases what he could have did in Cincinnati. Right now, Vegas has Arizona to win this game by 1.5 points. Over/under is 55. I think Dallas in the offense, backed behind Andy Dalton, scores a ton of points. 34-31, they beat this squad. I think it's going to be a problem for Dak Prescott. I hate how the contracts and everything's set up. Dak Prescott gets a franchise tag, plays through this season, and he's supposed to get paid a ton of money and do well. He was throwing for a ton of yards leading up to this injury. Now he gets hurt. He's out. Now they're deciding. Now they get to decide if they want to sign him and bring him back. That's just not right. I don't think to Dak. It stinks because I think that Andy Dalton's going to make a lot of noise moving forward. If he wins a division, if they go on like a 5, 6, 8, game winning streak and make a run into the playoffs, Dak Prescott is going to have a problem staying with Dallas just for financial reasons. I think he'll get a job somewhere else. And again, I'm just way off tangent now, but just keep that in mind. One guy, and I am going to get on my soapbox here. I forget what year it was, but there was a wide receiver who I loved, Javon Walker. For those old heads that have been watching football for a while, it was back when Brett Favre was still the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre told Javon Walker, who was holding out for a new contract, he was like on his last year of his contract making $500,000 a year, which obviously is a ton of money, but in the NFL, he was arguably the best wide receiver in the league at that point in time. Brett Favre told him, hey, look, just shut up, take your money, come to practice, earn your money on the field, and do big things. Javon Walker tore his ACL, I think in the first or second game of the season. They did not pay him his money. He ended up going to the Broncos, got half the contract that he did, and his career ended up being nothing of what it was going to be. Get your money. Hold out if you need to. Get your money off of that. Moving along, the last game, the one that matters, the one that we care about, the Houston Texans traveling to Nashville to play our Tennessee Titans. And I'll say that again, our Tennessee Titans, who are undefeated at 4-0. Houston, 1-4. Do not make this a trap game, Tennessee. Right now, Tennessee favored by 3.5 points. The over-under is 53.5. These guys, especially Lund is a hater, man. He always picking any team that we go against, and that's the reason why he's in last place right now. I say the Tennessee Titans win this game 35-27 in a high-scoring game for us on offense. Hopefully we get Corey Davis back as well as Adam Humphries. It doesn't look to say that it's going to be happening, but I believe that the defense keeps us in this. Deshaun Watson gives us a couple turnovers, and we do the same thing we just did to the Buffalo Bills to these Houston Texans while we're at home. All right, so with all the game predictions knocked out now for Week 6, it's time to give you guys our bold prediction. Week 6 bold prediction coming to you. Before I do that, how about Week 5? Here it is. Jonnu Smith is my bold prediction for Week 5. Look at him having a big game. I'm talking about 100+ yards, and I have it that way on purpose, total yards, because it could be rushing as well as receiving. We line him up everywhere across the field, but he also gets in the end zone at least one time. I just have him having a big game. There's no way that he doesn't have a big game without Corey Davis, without Adam Humphries. And we do get A.J. Brown back, but we have to be able to go back to something old faithful that's been there the whole time. I think Ryan Tannehill and him have great chemistry, and we'll see that here this week. All right, you guys. This is starting to get really, really stressful for me because I'm so close. I can feel it. I can see where the game is going to go and how these things are going to come out, but I'm just a little bit off. Jonnu Smith, I predicted he's going to have 100 yards or plus, but I definitely saw the touchdown. He ended up getting 2 touchdowns, not the yardage, but it's okay. Week 6, brand new week. Going to try this again. All right, this time I got this one locked in. I got a good reason why. This week's bold prediction, Jadeveon Clowney gets 1+ sack this game. This one to me is a slam dunk. It says bold prediction, but it feels like a slam dunk. It's only a bold prediction because he hasn't got a sack all season long. He's so beyond due for a sack. And he's going against the team that drafted him in the Houston Texans. I think that he drags down Deshaun Watson at least one time this game and wouldn't be shocked if it's 2 or more. But definitely, Jadeveon Clowney gets 1 sack this game. Well, that's it. That wraps up episode 26 of Tighten Up Today. This show is in the bag. You got the NFL Week 6 picks as well as my bold prediction. Do with it as you please. That information is for you and yours. That being said, I appreciate your time. Thanks again for joining me. If you like this episode or any other episode in the past, take a moment, click that like button, give us the thumbs up, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel and click that notifications bell. Get notified whenever I drop my next episode of this show. I appreciate you guys, but I got one question for you guys before you leave. Why tighten up tomorrow when you can tighten up today?